two kids are playing with action figures of the old and new Batman. One boy says he doesn't care what anyone says. The original is Batman. This new thing, well, they can pump out as many toys as they like, but it doesn't even have a Batmobile. Over in his home, Gordon is trading. Julia comes by and shows Gordon that the Powers Corporation is providing Jim with a vehicle of his own. However, this is quite different from a Batmobile, and Julia refers to it as a Bat Truck. The vehicle can be controlled through the mech suit and will serve as a mobile Batcave. Suddenly, Daryl contacts the two and warns them that something big is brewing in Gotham. The company has begun to offer people access to a free Bat app, which allows citizens to call in threats. Using this app, the Powers operatives are able to funnel alerts, allowing them to respond and have boots on the ground before even 911 calls are coming in. Gordon suits up and launches in his aerial carrier. This crisis is happening in the Narrows, one of the most underrepresented communities in Gotham. It's been burned and abandoned to gang warfare many times in the past. As Gordon thinks on this, he is suddenly attacked by debris flung from a building. The attacker is a leader of a triad in this area. His name is G.G. Huang, and his trademark is the subdermal horns in his head. But the man seems to have new abilities, as he is able to manipulate the molecular structure of silicate. This is a substance found in bricks, stone, and tar, so the man can essentially alter and move the entire city at his will. Huang uses the debris to form a massive and monstrous version of Batman, and as he attacks the Dark Knight, Gordon thinks back to a conversation he had earlier. At the Gotham City morgue, Gordon met with the new police commissioner Sawyer. They are observing a man who Jim brought in earlier, alive and well, and is now dead. He died from a high-tech shell, referred to as a seed that was implanted into his body. It was designed to dissolve and release a massive dose of radiation. This new device has been used at least 5 times now, and it seems that somebody is experimenting with it. Gordon recognizes every one of these victims as people who he has arrested before, so Sawyer says these attacks must be personal, and Jim seems to have his very first supervillain. Jim thanks the commissioner and prepares to leave, but Sawyer says he won't be informing Batman of any further developments. The Powers Corporation wants the GCPD to take the lead, and in spite of Jim's protest, he is reminded that Batman is now a state employee. He has rules to follow, and if he breaks them, they will shut him down. Sawyer warns Gordon that Batman has always operated outside of the law, and advises Jim to stop what he is doing now, as it is likely to end badly. Gordon doesn't respond to this advice, and rather, true to the nature of Batman, disappears right in front of the police commissioner using cloaking technology. Back in the present, the fight isn't going well. Batman is unable to penetrate the rocky armor Huang has built for himself. Jim is forced underwater, and the suit begins to buckle from the strain of the Earth Mover's attacks. Suddenly, Gordon comes up with an idea, and his foe is crushed by the Bat Truck. In the aftermath, Huang is captured, and he tells Gordon that a mysterious Mr. Bloom is creating a whole garden of enemies. Before he can say anything more, the seed in his body activates, and the man instantly dies. As Julia debriefs Gordon back at headquarters, she tells him that even though the Bat Truck was just destroyed, the Powers Company will have other models released soon. Gordon then tells her that he knows she used to work with the original Batman and is currently operating under an assumed name. She is flustered at this revelation, but Gordon says he is only interested in knowing how the original Batman did his job. Julia admits that she didn't work for him for very long, but she came to understand that the original never cared about what Batman stood for. He simply focused on doing what was right, and the idea of what Batman stood for grew from there. Gordon worries too much about what other people think about what Batman means, so he needs to stop and just focus on being himself and fighting for what he believes in. Gordon agrees to keep her past a secret, and the two shake hands, amicably saying they will continue their work together. We then cut to the kids playing with the action figures at a school. They are still fighting over Batman, so one of them suggests they ask Duke, who knew the old Batman before he died. The boy is quiet and doesn't say much until Mr. Wayne comes by and asks if everything is alright. Duke says it is, but he honestly does not know what to think about Batman anymore. We learn Bruce is working at this school as a custodian of sorts, and is getting along well with the staff and students. However, when he goes to the supply closet, he is surprised to find Jim Gordon waiting for him. Gordon says he is Batman, and the two need to have a talk. Hello and welcome to Comic Island. My name is Arden, and this is my recap and review of Batman number 42. So I have some mixed feelings about this comic. On the one hand, I do mostly like this issue for the same reasons as issue 41. It feels like a real change of pace to reflect the different Batman, and I really enjoy this comic's storytelling and art. There were some great moments and action in this comic, and I don't want to downplay the issue's tremendous strengths. I also really like the ending, and I don't even know what to make of it. Does Jim know that Bruce is Batman? Where's this conversation going? I feel like it's a fake out, but I don't know. But on the other hand, this comic felt like the first Batman Core Series comic I reviewed on this channel thus far, where I finally lost the excitement. I think that this comic just required too much suspension of disbelief even for me. Between all the stuff with the new Batman tech, the various new ideas they're fronting here, and the new Batman being an older man who smoked most of his life and will likely struggle even in a mech suit, coupled with this whole Bruce Wayne thing, I think this comic finally lost me. This whole idea of Jim Gordon could work, and it more or less is working fine in this comic, but it also feels so rushed. Endgame also felt rushed, but that fit the story. There was a ton of stuff happening all at once, and that comic felt really frantic, which led to it feeling like the actual end of the world for Batman. And considering the nature of that story, everything kind of fit together nicely. Here, we're not being given the opportunity to let these new characters and this new Batman soak in. Feels like we're shuffling from one plot point to the next, and I'm not getting hooked on these new characters, atmosphere, and story. So I find myself questioning everything. Is the Bat Truck dumb? Do these new characters bring anything to the table? The app is definitely dumb. Why did they bother with this? And why does this whole Bruce Wayne as a janitor thing feel so silly? And I really don't have any answers to these questions, nor do I really care, but these are the sort of things I think of when the story is not engaging me. So I cannot really recommend this comic. It was fine, but nothing that special, and definitely something worth skipping. And I don't have any problems with the new Batman, so long as he's being done right. But that's the problem. No matter how I look at this, things just don't feel right. Maybe if they took their time with this idea and let us get used to it, and introduced the Bat Truck, the Bat App, and the Bat Gun, and the Bat Whatever at a slower pace, I'd probably like this a bit more. But as it stands, it's just too much, too fast, and I'm really starting to tune this story out. It's fine, but it all feels like a mad rush. Rush, rush, rush. Too many comics get caught up in this fast-paced environment these days, and in the case of Batman, I can't help but think they're just running through this Jim Gordon stuff as quick as they can before the next big DC shakeup when Bruce Wayne comes back, if not sooner. But you just can't shift Batman this quickly. This should be a big deal, something that we need time getting used to. But if they're not going to take their time, we end up with this half-baked product. Whatever. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep reading comics.